So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, welcome. We are so excited to have you here. We are so excited to for you to join us for our very first ever MoeGo product webinar series for our customers. If you're joining us today, that means you are here to learn about our new MoeGo reporting. So welcome to Unlock Smarter Business Insights with new MoeGo reporting. Just a brief introduction before we get started. So my name is Erica Infin. I have been at MoeGo for just about a year, and I am our host for today's session. I join you from the education enablement team, from our customer education, and then I'll pass it over to Ted to introduce himself as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Ted Zhang, and I'm one of the product managers here at MoeGo. The area that I'm particularly in charge of is going to be reporting and anything finance related. So super excited to talk a little bit about our new reporting products that'll be coming out in the next couple of months, and really looking forward to the rest of the presentation.
All right. So for today's session, we'll be spending about the next hour together, and we'll be walking through three really specific product workflows that you'll be able to, with our new MoeGo reporting, had two versions open. Okay, great. You'll be able to implement once we go live later this year with our new MoeGo reporting. We'll dive into some live demos. These will be led by Ted, our product expert, who will walk you through exactly what these workflows look like in MoeGo and what they'll look like in a live account. And then you'll have an opportunity to submit any questions using the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So this will be a live Q&A, meaning that you can submit your questions here. Ted will answer them at the end of the session. So please, 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 throughout the session, make sure you're using that Q&A button. It's at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you don't see it, just go ahead and click more and you'll see a Q&A button. So just make sure to click on that, submit any questions. You do also have chat available to you. However, as you may have noticed, the things that you're chatting actually just go directly to Ted and I for security purposes, just to make sure we're not sharing information. And so anything you chat goes directly to Ted and I. If you chat in questions, we will redirect you to the Q&A. Recording and then resources will be available post-session via email, as well as via YouTube and Academy. Without further ado, let's get started. So I first want to start with a quick check-in. So thinking about your current reporting in MoeGo. So whether you're brand new to MoeGo or you've been with us for a while, what's your biggest reporting headache right now? All right, we have some voting coming in. So our biggest headaches right now, it's hard to understand the numbers. We have a pretty even votes across, too many places to find data, reconciliation headaches, difficult to use. We have a lot of folks having a hard time understanding the numbers though. Then we had a couple of chats come in as well. Payroll is a big one. I can't get specific data. Yeah, that's really challenging. All right, so as we can see, we actually have we have a smattering of all of these, and we know that these are real issues that are brought up by you, our customers, on a regular basis. And so that's what we're really excited to introduce our new MoeGo reporting today, and discuss with you how we're going to help approach some of these issues and help you bridge the gap and solve them. We had a couple others come in. I just want to make sure they're heard. Not being able to get a clear number of boarding and daycare dogs were serviced in a week. Nothing matches from one report to the next. Grooming commission reports don't pull. Sales tied to commission. So we have a lot of really specific examples of here, which I think will tie into these as well. So I'll go on mute for a second and I'll let Ted discuss here, kind of dive into our two types of reporting needs across you, our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, lots of great feedback from our users. And these are things that were common problems that we're looking to address with the future of reports. But in terms of reporting, we really think about the reporting landscape in two different folds. Obviously, we have our operational reporting, which is going to be everything tied to your day-to-day, right? You really want to know, like, how's my sales doing? What are my upcoming appointments? How are my staff doing? Things that get you through like your day-to-day work. And then we also have the other half, which for some of us that might not be accountants, might not be the most fun part about our business, but is an important aspect when which we have our month end close, right? We also have to pay our sales taxes. We have to prepare like financial statements to get a better understanding of our business. So we also have another set of reports that help your accountants facilitate their month end close, whether it's doing like the bank reconciliation, checking some of their balance sheet accounts. We're also preparing their sales tax filings. We have reports for that. So throughout the demo, you're going to see me talk a little bit about our operational reporting as well as some accounting focused reports. And next, we'll talk a little bit about like the direction of our reporting product. Um, Yeah, so in terms of the roadmap for reporting, really it breaks down into three different segments. The first segment that we're on, obviously, we've seen a lot of your feedback, right? Reports have been hard to understand. Maybe the UX hasn't always been great, or certain numbers you feel doesn't tie with one report versus the other. So as you're going to see in our demo for our upcoming reports, these reports are going to be a lot more easier to understand. We've worked really hard on improving the data stability and reliability so that when you go to the reports, you know exactly what you're getting and there shouldn't be as much confusion as there was in the past. And then the next iteration, and you'll see a little bit of this in the new reports as well, is more ability to customize. You're going to see more functionality to filter and sort reports. You're also going to see additional group by capabilities to really let you pivot your data in a lot more different directions. But we do understand that we want to offer you a lot more flexibility because even though we're all in the pet care industry, a lot of us look at our businesses a lot differently. So there's definitely going to be more customization on the horizon. And then the next endeavor is definitely going to be more AI powered insights. So what that means is you're going to be able to go into our product and then you can just naturally ask a question. Maybe these are things that you already do with like a product like a ChatGPT or Claude today, where you can just ask questions like, how did my staff perform like last week? Or how did this particular promotion or this marketing campaign that I did, how did it perform and how much revenue did I generate? So hopefully the reporting product goes from something that you generate and you're looking for the insight on your own to something that's more AI powered and comes a little more naturally. And then, of course, all these roadmap items couldn't happen unless we hear from you and get your feedback, right? So there's a lot of channels to interact with the product management team here at MoeGo. One specifically is our feature request portal that I'll dive into a little bit further. But also be on the lookout for opportunities to be an early tester of products such as like the new reporting or some other products that we have down the pipeline. So we're all constantly looking for more user feedback and more testing. So definitely be on the lookout for those opportunities.
Awesome. Thanks, Ted. So we're about to dive into our three workflows. And again, like I mentioned at the start of this call, these workflows are going to be real flows that you'll be able to implement and that will impact your business in MoeGo once we launch our new reporting. So first, go ahead and answer in the chat or just think about it. But I'd love to hear from each of you. Have you ever looked at your revenue totals and still feel like you didn't have the full picture? A big resounding yes. Some thumbs up. Yes, I think yes, yes, yes. We have a lot of excitement here. This is a big one, and we know this is a big one for our customers. We see the pains of this every day. We feel the pains of this every day with you on our go-to-market team. When you're chatting into support, when you're working with your CSM, we hear you. So the first problem, your revenue lacks context. So think about this. You know that you brought in $50,000 last month, but questions like these aren't always easy to answer. So maybe you're getting questions like how much came from grooming versus boarding, or which services are driving the growth, which I know someone alluded to earlier in one of their answers. And how should revenue be categorized when you're reporting it? This requires a lot of additional investigation, manual work on your part, and things that we really should be assisting you with. And we're excited to be able to help bring to you going forward. So I'll pass it off to Ted now to dive into our exciting new revenue categories and updated sales reports that will help you not only answer these questions, but do so in an easy and intuitive way.
Yeah, so in the upcoming demo, I'll be previewing a couple new functionality for you that's coming out soon. So the first one is going to be custom revenue categories. So this is a very cool feature in that you can set up a new revenue category. It could be like maybe boarding revenue, it could be training revenue, whatever you like, and then you can assign that to your service item. So once you have that assigned, all your reports are naturally going to start tracking revenue in this way. So you can really get more detailed revenue insights instead of just previously a hard-coded or a generic category that MoeGo used to provide. Now you have full customization on that point. The other thing that we also did is we updated the sales summary report. For those users that are using it today, you probably see there's many, many different columns on the sales summary report. But what we did was we really simplified it to really just focus strictly on sales. But we also added the ability to group by many different pivots. You can group by revenue category, you can group by item, and I'll show you some of the multi-layer group bys to really allow you to drill down a lot further into your sales. And then lastly, for those of you that maybe recognize sales on a cash basis, right? That maybe recognize like profits only like when the money comes in, we also have a specialized cash basis sales report that I'm going to preview as well. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and dive into the demo. Okay, cool. So here we're in our demo environment, and the first thing that I want to walk you through is how to set up revenue categories. Now, one thing to note, to use revenue categories, you have to be on our new smart invoicing product. So for those of you that are already on it, that have transitioned to it, you'll be able to see this within settings. And then again, everything that I'm demoing here is currently in an alpha stage. So at the end, if you'd like to be an early tester, me and Erica will inform you how you can sign up for that. But first, we're going to navigate to settings. And then within settings, I'm going to go to general settings. Within general settings, I'm going to navigate to accounting. And then within accounting, this is where you will create your revenue categories. As you can see here, I've already created a few for my business. I have a grooming revenue category, but also I can break it down into categories that roll up to the main parent category, right? So here I understand within grooming, there's all kinds of different types, right? I might have full service grooming. I can also create one, maybe it's small dog grooming. I can do one for bathing. And then I can also separate my other service items that I have. I could have daycare revenue, boarding revenue, training revenue, etc. But let's say I want to create a brand new one. I'm gonna say, like, you know what? Beyond just boarding revenue, I want to track like revenue from suites. So I can say like I'm gonna have suite revenue. And then one cool thing that I can do is I can say this is a subcategory. So I'm going to say like ultimately it rolls up into boarding revenue, but I also do want to get insights on which exactly are how much am I generating from my suites, right? So I'm going to hit save, and then all of a sudden I have that saved. And then once I have that, I can go into my items list. And then I can look for a particular item. As you can see here, I've already had a few assigned, but maybe um, like I have this particular dog food product here. I could assign it to one of my revenue categories. Just for this purpose, I'm just going to assign it to boarding revenue. But obviously, I could probably create one for like retail revenue, merchandise revenue, something like that. So once I have that assigned, then when I generate my new reports, you're going to be able to see the revenue attribution to those service items. So again, really easy to set up revenue categories and also assign it to the particular items. So next, now that I have these revenue categories assigned, I want to dive into some of our new reports. So here I'm going to navigate to the reporting section. And then in the new reporting section, I'm going to pull up the sales summary report. So the sales summary report is going to be an aggregated view of all of the sales that happen in a particular period, right? Like, so here, as you can see from earlier, I was able to assign all these different revenue categories. So then all my different revenue, I can open it up and I can see like, okay, of my grooming revenue, how much of it was from bathing, how much was from full service grooming. Remember, I talked a little bit about like you can have subcategories that roll up to a main parent category. So I have that customization here within this report. But other cool things that I could do is I can also group by not only by the revenue category, but I can also drill down even further and drill down based off of the business, the item name. So I can get even more granular information, such as, okay, I know that I sold maybe $50 an add-on. Exactly what was the breakout from those $50, you know? So I could see like, okay, I sold a couple Kongs, I sold some special shampoo, I also sold like a workout. And then not only do I see like the amount of sales, I also see the number of times I sold that. So I could look in historically, like this past week, how much add-ons did I sell? How many like daycare appointments that I sell, like a particular like full day service, how many was that sold? And I can understand like how much was discounted, what was my total net sales. So we really simplified this report, right? Like there's not as many columns as before. I think a couple other things that we're working on introducing is allowing you to know like how much of these sales were like redeemed from packages or memberships. So you'll also get that visibility coming up soon. So in conjunction to the sales summary report, we also have a sales line item report. You can think of this report as this is the raw detail information that's powering the other report. So for those of you that maybe want to look at a particular transaction or you want to look at a particular revenue category, you'll have that ability to do that here. Or of course, you can also download this to Excel if you want to do other further spreadsheet manipulation or different pivot tables to get additional insights. But here, this is going to be, just think about this as like the raw data that is powering the other sales summary report. And then the next report that I want to walk through is going to be the cash basis sales report. So following a similar pattern to like the sales summary report, this is specifically for customers that recognize revenue on a cash basis. So this is when you're only recognizing revenue when you get paid, right? So similar to the sales summary report, we have two reports that work in conjunction. One is going to be the summarized view, and the other is going to be the raw data behind it. So first, I'm going to jump into the summarized report, which is our cash basis sales report. So within this report, it's a little bit different than the sales summary report, right? Because here, previously in the sales summary report, it was based off of appointment checkout, but this one is going to be based off of the transaction date, which means is when you got paid, right? So here, again, you're going to be able to see your different revenue categories, and similar to the sales summary report, you can break that down based off of the particular item name. So then you can get the drill down in more granular detail on like how much did you sell for a particular item. But also we added the ability to group by payment method as well. And it's probably a little bit clearer if I just do revenue category and payment method. So give that a second to run. And then what that would do is it'll show me my different revenue categories. And just give me 1 second. I probably clicked too many commands at once. Let that reload. Let me go back to the. Oop. Yeah, I probably moved a little bit too fast on that one. Let me start over on the cash basis sales report. Okay, so now that I have that loaded, one other thing that I can also do is I can group by the payment method. And then you can see here, like, how did I get paid for these add-on revenues? So for those of you, maybe you want to filter out store credit, you have that ability to do that here. So you can just say like, you know what, I don't count this store credit as like cash basis, so I can filter that out. And then I can see all the sales I generated, whether it be cash, Venmo, credit card, all my various other payment methods. And then I'm going to dive into the detailed report. So again, similar to like the sales summary report, right? For the cash basis sales report, you're going to be able to see all the different raw data that's powering that report here. So this is another good report if you want to do further drill downs, or maybe you want to download that to Excel. This would be the perfect report to do so. So with that, that's just a quick overview of some of the new sales reporting capabilities that we developed. Again, this is an alpha product, but we're hopefully we can roll this out in the next couple months.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ted. That was really exciting to see, and we had a lot of great questions come in, so I'm really excited for our Q&A in just a little bit. But first, we have two more workflows to go through and quite a few more features to see. So our key takeaway is just as kind of a recap of what Ted just covered here. So you can now categorize revenue the way that your business is structured, and it can be a lot more personalized to how you run your business versus what MoeGo is dictating in our revenue categorization. Next, reports are more consistent and are easier to hand off to your accountant, just creating an overall smoother flow for you to get the information that you need. And then finally, less manual work at the end of the month, which we are all after and all looking for so that we can get back to the real work of working with our pets and working with each other. So next question. Go ahead and answer in the chat, and we'll kind of read off some of the responses we get. Have you spent hours at month end trying to answer one simple question? Why don't these numbers match? Yes, lots of resounding yeses. Yes, yes, yes from Emily. Okay, lots of resounding yeses here. Again, something that we hear really frequently from customers, and we're here to help you solve. We hear you, we want to fix it. So the problem, month-end close is an absolute grind. So the month ends, you're pulling information from reports, reconciliation payments, your deposits, you're validating store credits, you're making sure that your sales tax numbers are all correct. You're pulling from all of these different locations and still really not sure if you're ending up in the right place. So I'm going to pass off to Ted again, who's going to help walk us through our new accounting-focused reporting features that will help this be a thing of the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So, from earlier, we talked a little bit about operational reporting, right? And all the different ways that we're going to recategorize sales and the new sales reporting. But this is a section where we're focused on the accountant. So, there are a couple of updates that we made across the board. First being that we updated our payment summary report. Previously, like our payment summary report had tons of columns, right? A lot of it was like sales related just because we had some customers that were on cash basis. But as you can see, we developed a specific cash basis sales report. So we no longer need those columns within the payment summary report. So we really streamlined it, simplified it a lot, where it's just, just going to see payments collected. What were the fees on those particular transactions if you're using MoeGo Pay, and what is the net payment amount? So, and then the next piece is that accountants, obviously, there's a lot of balance sheet accounts, right? Things that are like liabilities, like your packages, your store credits, deposits, also open invoices for open AR. So we have a lot of new reports that are specifically developed so you can understand like, well, how much of my packages did people redeem? So that's how much like I got to draw down my liabilities, or how much of my deposits remain unapplied, so I know what is my the open deposit balance at the end of the month. So I'll walk you through some of those reports as well. And then lastly, for those of you that are in jurisdictions where you have to charge sales tax, we have new sales tax reporting that's really going to help you make those sales tax filings. Okay, so with that, I'm going to jump into the demo, going back into our MoeGo environment. And then here, I'm back on my main screen. We're going to navigate to reports. And then the first new report that I want to walk you through is going to be the payment summary report. So within the payment summary report, like I mentioned, we simplified this a lot more, where we're just focusing on one side, it's grouped by the different payment methods that you have, and then what was your total collected, what was going to be your total processing fee by client, and then if you charge the processing fee to your end client, or what is the processing fee charged to you. So we're hoping that this simplifies things a lot more where you're just focusing on the payment itself. And the other features that we're going to add very soon is we'll also add you a payout detail here. So you know exactly if you're a MoeGo Pay user, like which credit card payments actually from particular days, which payout does it actually reconcile to? And then so it'll be a lot easier to do your bank recs there. And similar to our sales summary report, you do have the ability to have multiple group buys. So I can also here, if I had multiple locations, I can group by the business name, but I can also go to figuring out like what is the transaction type. So I can tell like which ones were received, which ones were refunded, and then I can get more detailed breakdowns there. So again, we simplified the payment summary report a lot with this new update. And then in conjunction with the payment summary report, we have the payment transaction report. So this is going to be your detail behind the summarized report. So here you can see like which of these payments were deposits, which ones were payments, which invoice were they paid on, what was the appointment start date and end date, all the raw detail that you need to kind of figure out some of these payments that you need to reconcile. So that's a quick overview of everything that's payment related. The next thing I want to demo for you is our new open invoice report. So the open invoice report is really helpful because a couple of things. One, now you can go back in time. So you could do like a historical date. So maybe you can do as of like 5/31, what were my total like open invoices at the end of maybe last month? If you're just closing the books for the previous month, you could do that. Or in real time, you can see like, okay, today I see my client Amy Morris. I see that she has a remaining balance of about $75 here. So I know I need to go back and collect that from her. So not only is this helpful for operationally to check like if you have any unpaid invoices or anybody that's checked out or maybe has a late payment, you could do that here. But also for your accounting team, you can go back in time to like the prior period if you need to close your books to figure out your open AR. So that's the open invoice report. The next thing I want to cover is everything related to deposits, right? So the first thing that we have is our deposit audit log report. So think of this report as kind of like your deposit ledger. So what this report summarizes is it's going to have everything that you've collected and then also deposits consumed and also any deposits forfeited, right? Maybe there was a client that gave us a deposit, but they never showed up. So then they end up forfeiting the deposit, and then maybe we charge like a no-show fee there. So here, this ledger is really helpful where you can download this to Excel, and then you can kind of use this to calculate, well, okay, how much did my deposits increase, which is going to be like the amount that I collected, and how much I consumed, which is the amount that I need to draw down. And you can change the date filter. So I could see like exactly maybe what happened during the month of May or the month of June when I'm closing June. So in addition to that, we also have an unapplied deposit report. So similar to the open invoice report, right? We're able to go back and see for a particular time period, what were my open deposits? Basically, deposits that we've collected, but have not applied to a particular invoice yet, or maybe not fully applied, right? So these would be situations where we collected a deposit from the customer, but maybe like their appointment is in the future and then they haven't checked out yet, so that deposit is not consumed, right? So this is helpful to figuring out like, okay, what was my deposit balance at the end of a particular month? Or you can look at operationally like, hey, these are all like the money that we've collected ahead of time. We know that at some point we got to render out this service at a later date. So that's the unapplied deposit report. And then the next report I want to cover is our package redeem report. So here within the package redeem report, This is very similar to the deposit audit log. Kind of think of this as like your ledger for package redemptions. So here, this is going to track all of the different packages that have been redeemed over a particular period. So if you want to see like in the month of May, like how much packages were redeemed, you can easily change this date range to a previous month, and then it will show you like these were all the different package redemptions here. And then that will help you figure out like how much of your package liability you will need to draw down. So that's the package redeem report. And then for those of you that are on our new invoicing module, and then maybe you're using store credit, we also have a store credit audit log. So then again, very similar to the deposit audit log, this is going to be your ledger for all things store credit related. So you can see all the different store credit issuances here. You can also see store credit redemptions along with the notes on why the particular store credit was issued. So not only is this a report good for operations to double check on certain store credit issuances, but also for your accountant to figure out like how much remaining store credit do we have at the end of the month. And then with that, I want to dive into our sales tax report. So here we're going to jump into our sales tax report. So then the sales tax report, basically, like I could do it for this whole year. And then what we can do here is it shows based on the particular tax rate, what was the total net sales that were attributed to that tax rate, and what was the tax amount that we actually collected on that. So here, similar to our other reports, you have the ability to group by, you can group by tax rate, or you can also group by the payment method. If you want to figure out like maybe how much of the sales were done via cash, how much of it was store credit, or some other types of payment method. So here previously, we kind of had some sales tax reporting that was lumped into like the payment summary report or the sales summary report, but we were really only showing like the total tax collected. This now actually gives you visibility on like how much sales was actually attributed to a particular tax rate. So that should help you a lot more when you're doing those tax filings at the end of the period. So cool. So with that, that pretty much covers the new set of reports for accountants specifically. There are going to be some more added functionality, like I mentioned, such as like being able to see the payout on the payment summary, and then we'll also have some more point in time reporting for some of those asset accounts as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ted. That's super exciting. We got so many good questions from that. We have people very excited about our sales tax report and really eager to dive in. And just as a reminder, that we will be sharing how to join our beta program. This is all in alpha right now, as Ted has mentioned, but we'll be sharing with you how to join our beta program so that you can be the first to test and leave feedback on these new reports and really help shape the future of how these come to life in your organization. So our key takeaways. Month-end reconciliation now requires less manual cross-referencing. We've been able to automate a lot of that and take away some of that legwork for you. Your accountant gets cleaner and more exportable data. I know I saw in here we do have an accountant, so hopefully this makes your life a little bit easier. And then finally, packages, credits, and deposits are finally visible all in one place, helping you consolidate and get the information you need in one location versus having to pull from all of those different locations we discussed earlier. So let's do a quick check-in. And if you haven't already, make sure that you're joining using the QR code. You can join as a guest and such so you can participate and vote in this next section. So just a quick pulse check. We have one more workflow to go and a bit more news to share that we're really excited to share with you. But which of these reports are you most excited to try? We have option A, our revenue categories and updated sales reports. Option B, our payment summary and accounting reports, or option C, both. All of this sounds exciting and important for what you need. And before I show the results, I'll give you just a second. As a reminder, you can vote using this QR code right here and join as a guest. Excellent. So I see we have a lot of resounding option C. Both, I need all of this. We're so happy to hear that. as Ted mentioned, as we've mentioned, and as we'll say again before the end of this hour is up, everything that's happening here, everything that Ted and our team is building is based off of your feedback, and we'll continue to do so. So we're really happy to be able to help address some of this. And with that said, let's move forward into our last workflow, our last piece before we dive into our live Q&A. So go ahead and answer in the chat. What business decisions are you making today based on what happened last month instead of what's scheduled to happen next week? So how much of that kind of retroactive planning are you having to do versus being able to proactively plan? And what are some of those business decisions you have to make? Go ahead and answer in the chat. How to spend on marketing. Yeah, it's a really common one. That's good. Rebook target rates. And I've seen a couple other questions come in. Just as a reminder, please use that Q&A button if you have questions, and we'll be able to get to them at the end of the webinar. New dog assessments. Yes, that's a great one. Excellent. So our last workflow. The problem is blind spots in your planning, which we've just heard a few examples of. We had another one come in, utilization, to understand when to purchase a new van. Yes. You can see what happened last month. It's a lot harder to understand what's already scheduled and how much revenue is expected to come in. Are you on track for your business goals? What will things look like in the upcoming months ahead? So I'm going to pass it off to Ted one more time to dive into our operational reporting and revenue forecasting uplift. I'm very excited for this one. Ted,
Cool.
take it away.
Yep, absolutely. So again, we talked a little bit about some of the accounting reports. Now let's go back to some more operational heavy reports. So one, we launched a new expected sales report. So this report is everything that's going to be forward looking, right? So you're going to be able to know like how much sales is going to be based off my booked appointments. How much do I anticipate collecting in the upcoming month? Also, it's going to give you some more visibility into the upcoming appointments. Like, well, in the future appointments, what did I actually sell? How many suites did I book? How many standard boarding stays do we have? How many baths are we about to give in the next month? You'll be able to get some insights into that. And lastly, we'll talk about a couple like reporting areas that we want to invest in the upcoming quarter. So you'll know what are some of the new reports that you can expect to see. So with that, I'm going to jump into our demo, going back into our MoeGo environment. So here within the reports section, the first thing that I want to cover is going to be our expected sales summary report. So again, very similar pattern to our other reports. You're going to see a summarized report and also a detailed report with the raw data. So here, let's first jump into the summary. And looks like it logged me out. Just give me 1 second. Let me log back in.
And while he's logging
And
back in, don't forget, if you have questions about this final workflow, use that Q&A button. Go ahead and submit. We're going to have time to answer a decent amount of questions at the end of this workflow.
okay. And we're back. All right, so let's go back into reports. Let's jump into the expected sales summary report. So the expected sales summary report is everything that's going to be forward looking, right? So here I'm going to group by, remember those revenue categories that we set up? So I know like, okay, in my next week that I have coming, or this in the next 7 days, this is what kind of my revenue is looking like so far based off of the book appointments. About 684 boarding revenue coming in, one appointment and one pet. So I'm a little bit light. And then here, I'm also going to be able to group by the item name as well. So I can see like, okay, in terms of grooming of my 4 upcoming, how many of those are going to be large baths? How many are full service? I have that breakdown here, as well as how many pets I'm about to service. So I'm able to have that visibility for capacity planning or any other type of planning that I need to do. One other thing that I have the ability to do is I can also group by assigned staff. So maybe we'll see here. So I have my first staff, Billy. He's got some grooming revenue that's coming in. So this is probably more dedicated to your groomers. So that are assigned, but you can see Billy has some grooming revenue, and then of course I can also group by the item if I wanted even further drill down to see like, okay, of that grooming revenue, exactly what types of services is that really coming from. So I see Billy's about to give a few baths, and he also has a few full service grooms coming. So a lot of flexibility with the new expected sales report, that you'll be able to slice and dice your data, and then you can also look forward. Um, you can look towards like the next month, next quarter, next year, and then you can also group by the different appointment start dates, so you can see like how many, you can see it broken down based off of like the by week, by month, what your future revenue is going to look like. So again, another really powerful report with more extensive group by functionality. And then let's take a look at the detailed report. So this, similar to sales summary, this is going to be like your raw data, right? You're going to be able to see for all my future appointments, this is going to be the line item breakdown of every single one of those appointments and how much estimated sales that I have. One thing to note is we only have the gross sales here because obviously at checkout, we don't know what discounts will be applied. Maybe there's going to be a package that's going to be applied. But you will get at least your top level revenue number here through the gross sales. And so that's the expected sales detail report. So as you can see, a lot of flexibility in terms of your future revenue forecasting. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the new reports that we have coming down the pipeline. One thing that we are invested heavily in is updating like our payroll report. I don't have a demo of it here today, but definitely be on the lookout for an opportunity to be a part of our new payroll research and also be a part of some of the payroll alpha programs. So I saw in the chat there was a lot of customers that have a lot of pains around payroll. Definitely come talk to me. Love to hear your thoughts. This is an area that we want to invest in heavily and to make that a much better experience for you. The next element that we're planning on refreshing is also our dashboard. You know, the dashboard has been a product that's been in MoeGo for quite some time and it definitely needs an upgrade across the board. So if you have any insights on how you would like to use this dashboard or whatever struggles that you've had with the dashboard in the past, definitely reach out to me. Love to hear your thoughts. So this is another area that we're going to be heavily invested in. So with that, I'll take it back to Erica and then we can proceed with the rest of the webinar.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ted. This is incredibly exciting. And we had a couple of chats come in saying that yes, you're really interested in being a part of the new payroll option. So in just a moment, we're going to share with you how to join the beta program, how to give that feedback so that you can give that feedback directly to Ted and work with our team. So our key takeaways for forecasting and operations: you no longer have to wait for the month to end to know how it went. We'll be able to provide that for you up front and be able to help you forecast versus retroactively having to pull that information together. Scheduled appointments are going to equal visibility into upcoming revenue. So again, you'll be able to really use that information and data that's already in your MoeGo account to forecast what you'll be able to make over the next month. And finally, more operational reporting capabilities on the roadmap. As Ted said, we want to hear from you, and we're going to, in just a moment, tell you exactly how. But first, one last time, go ahead and join using that QR code or jump in if you're already there. Just in one word, what's a feature that we covered today that you are most excited for or planning to use first, or that you think will make the biggest impact for your business? Again, you can go ahead and join using that QR code and just join as a guest. Revenue categories, sales forecasting, exciting. All right, excellent. You're welcome to continue to adding to this, and we'll come back to it for the sake of time. I'm going to keep us moving. Product category rep, absolutely. Another for sales forecasting. I knew that was going to be a really big one here. It's going to be one of our most popular changes. So just as a bit of a recap, and as we've alluded to and talked about a couple of times now, your feedback really, really, truly shapes what we're building here and what gets built in the future. So we're shaping features backed by inventory data and your input. We're going to talk to you in just a moment about the beta opportunities that are available so that you can start diving into these new reports as soon as possible in your accounts and get early access to give us feedback. And as a reminder, we take your feedback and requests incredibly seriously, and we take them to heart. So we'll also show you in just a moment where you can put those feature requests and to make sure that they're getting directly in the hands and eyes of our product team. So let's dive in to how to share that feedback, whether you're joining the new beta or whether you have other MoeGo feedback. Ted, I'll hand it off to you to talk about our feedback, our feature request portal.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you, you might be already familiar with the feature request portal, but for those of you where you're seeing this for the first time, this is a new portal that we recently launched in the past couple of weeks. So the feature request portal is a great channel for you to submit any type of product idea that you have. So to access the feature request portal, simply go into your MoeGo homepage, navigate to help, just the same place where you maybe need to contact our support team. You'll see feature requests within there. And then within the portal, you're going to see a simple form where you can submit a particular feature request, or you can go and browse at some of the other feature requests that have already been submitted by the team, and then you can upvote on those items. So, for example, gift card sales has been super popular for us. So, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely vote for that. And the cool thing about voting is that not only do you get a direct channel to share your feedback with our product team, it also gives us an indication that, hey, there is strong demand for this particular feature, and this is an area that we should focus our attention into. And another great thing that comes with the voting is that you'll be notified on status updates. So here you see that that gift card sales is something that we're planning to do on our roadmap. But once we actually put it into development or we start testing, we'll update that status, and then you can raise your hand and say like, hey, I want to be an early adopter. I'd love to test this. Or you can also give our feedback directly in that form. So again, feature request portal, great place for you to have your voice heard when it comes to our product. And then the next part is going to be our new reporting beta release, right? So currently, this is a product that is in testing, but I would love to get more users and more feedback on it. So if you're interested, at the end of this presentation, we'll have a poll. Definitely raise your hand, and then we'll reach out back out to you and let you know how we can get you set up on the new reporting.
And we can actually launch that poll right now just to collect a few names. So you should see a poll go ahead and pop up on your screen, just asking if you would like to sign up for the new reporting beta. Go ahead and select. There's no right or wrong answer, but of course, we'd love as many of you so we can get your feedback as possible. And if you sign up here or if you miss signing up here, no worries. We'll be sending out a follow-up email afterwards where you also have the opportunity to sign up. I saw a couple of questions come into around like the status of the beta and how that impacts your account. Please go ahead and submit that using the Q&A function so that we can either answer it live at the end of this call or we can follow up with you after the webinar and make sure that we get that answered for you. All right, I'm about to end this poll, but don't worry if you didn't get an opportunity to answer, it's no problem. Again, we'll be sending out a follow-up email where you can sign up for the beta program as well. All right, and for our MoeGo customers, some of you may already be familiar with MoeGo Academy. Again, you can continue learning with MoeGo Academy as we roll out these new reporting features. We'll also be rolling out new MoeGo Academy content and videos for you to learn how to make the most of them. So be on the lookout. If you are a customer and you're like, I've never heard of MoeGo Academy, or you've heard of it and you're not a member, just reach out to your CSM and they'll be able to help you get access. But be on the lookout as we roll out our new reporting features. Finally, in our last few minutes here, we're going to go ahead and dive into a live Q&A. You asked so many great questions. We're going to answer as much as we can live today. And don't worry, anything we don't get to, we have these questions that we'll export with us when the webinar ends so that we'll be able to answer them offline. And in our follow-up email, we'll make sure to attach any answers to questions that we didn't get to. So no worries there. So I'll go ahead and kick us off. Let me pull up our Q&A. And I'll go ahead and there we go. All right, so we had a question come in that asks, do we connect services to a particular category, same as add-on services to a category?
Correct. So the way to think about it is anything that you sell, you can connect that to a particular revenue category. So it could be package, it could be a retail item, it could be a boarding, daycare, grooming, it doesn't matter. Basically, to think of it as anything that you charge money for, um, that you sell can be assigned to a revenue category.
Excellent. All right, answered live. Great. All right, next question. Can you set the revenue by state? Some states collect tax for service and others don't.
Yeah, so we don't necessarily set it up by state, but in that sales tax report, you do have the ability to group by business. So if you have a particular location that's in one state, you can kind of distinguish it that way. So you'll still be able to distinguish it, but you'll be trying to distinguish it based off of the business name.
Excellent. Thanks, Ted. And we had a couple of people ask, and I saw this in the chat as well. What if you don't have the accounting screens in your settings?
Yeah, so most likely that is due to you're not on our new invoicing product. The new invoicing product is kind of a prerequisite for the revenue categories. So if you've seen maybe you've seen the pop-up banner on when you can transition to that. So that's something that you can reach out to your CSM and then we can get you set up on the new invoicing product if you're open to that.
Excellent. Thank you. And I've seen a couple other questions come in directly to us. Just remember, still use that Q&A button. Even if we don't get to it live, we'll make sure to follow up via email. Next question. And this one I believe was in regards to, it's a little bit of a short question, but I want to make sure it gets answered. It was in regards to our first section, Ted. It says per van revenue.
Per band revenue is the question. Well, trying to understand the question. Is it that do we have per band revenue reporting?
Um, let's go ahead and answer it that way. And then if
Okay.
the person who asked us would like to follow up and submit another Q&A, or if this doesn't answer their question, then we can follow up later.
Yeah, yeah. So van management and van revenue is something that we've been thinking about, having more robust processes around. I know our grooming team is actively looking into that. I don't have a definitive date yet, but it is something that's top of mind for us. One thing I would say is this, that's a great opportunity to go into our feature request portal. And if you haven't seen that submitted there, definitely submit that request there. And I think it'll be something that's going to be very popular with all our different mobile van operators.
I think so too. I feel like
Hmm.
that's probably been asked for a number of times
For
by
sure, for
other
sure.
mobile grooming clients. Um, will this give a way to be able to get an exact number count of how many dogs were boarded in a week? Like we boarded 26 dogs a week of 6/1 to 6/8 and had 27 daycare dogs, etc. So it sounds like this is around like the categories.
Yeah, so we do have the number of times a particular item has been sold on the sales summary, but we haven't gotten the request to see number of dogs. So again, this will be a good one. Put in the future request portal, and then we'll see if we can get that out. We do have number of pets on the expected sales, so you do know like how many future tails that you expect to see in-house. But right now, on the historical loan, we have it tied to based on the number of items sold, so number of daycare appointments, number of boarding appointments, that type of thing.
Excellent. Do these reports include memberships?
They do. So, like for example, on our sales summary, like you can assign like a revenue category for your membership sales, so you'll be able to break down like how many of particular membership that I sell. So yeah.
Excellent. Um, how is cash basis different than sales summary report?
Yeah, the biggest difference is like the sales summary report, it's based off revenue is recognized when the appointment is checked out, right? So you could have a situation where, let's say it's a $200 appointment, they check out, but they didn't pay. It's going to show up in the sales summary report as revenue. However, on the cash basis report, it wouldn't because based on the rules of cash basis, we haven't received payment yet, right? So that's the biggest difference. It really comes down to the timing of payments. And that's what dictates whether it gets calculated as sales or not.
Excellent. Are these reports going to be available for all subscription levels, or will we have to upgrade to have access? Good question.
I believe it's on the ultimate right now, but we're still evaluating some of that. So I would say for now, I wouldn't worry too much about the subscription level. This is some reporting that we want to share more broadly. But we're still working on that and trying to figure out like what level of subscription it should be.
I do like the configuration tool to select and deselect fields and resequencing reports.
Mhm. Cool. Yeah, no, I definitely just myself just demoing and using it on a daily basis. The group by functionality is definitely very powerful.
All right, we have time for a couple more questions. Is processing fee also known as service fee?
No, processing fee is the credit card processing fee. So I think the service fee is going to be as part of your invoice line item. So it wouldn't be that.
All right, a couple more. Will these reports be in just one menu selection versus multiple today, as this makes it confusing where to find which report?
Okay, so is the question like, are we going to categorize it a little bit better?
It sounds like a UI UX question. Like how are
Yeah,
we going to reorganize them in a way that's a little bit.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So as for my demo today, because I had so many different reports to run through, I was just going through the list. But you will definitely see them separated into their respective tabs for easier navigation.
All right, excellent. And we'll do one more question before we wrap up. Do you have any reports on memberships and unpaid subscriptions?
Not at the moment, but would love to hear the feedback. So if you have more details on that, definitely submit it into our feature request portal, and then I'm happy to take a look.
Excellent. All right. And I know there's tons of questions we didn't get to. So thank you so much for engaging and for being a part of this with us and submitting so many great questions. They're not going to go unanswered. We will be sending out a follow-up email and making sure that we get answers to your questions as part of that email as well. So just to recap what you'll be able to do once we launch our new reporting later this summer. Understand what's driving business performance. You'll be able to understand what's driving your business performance, close the books faster with greater confidence, move from reactive decisions to proactive planning, and help reshape the future of MoeGo reporting with your feedback. So what's coming next? Make sure to look out for future webinar sessions. The link that you used to sign up, moego.pet/product webinars, will be where we update. You'll also receive an email from our lovely marketing team and hopefully hear from your CSM as well about any upcoming product sessions. Join the beta programs. Let us know your product feedback in the feature request portal, and please let us know how we did today. As I mentioned at the beginning of the call, this was our very first customer product webinar. We were so thrilled to get to do this for you and also get to share some really exciting news about our new reporting. So please go ahead and as soon as we close out this webinar, you'll receive a quick feedback survey, just 4 questions. It should take you 30 seconds. Please share any and all feedback with us on today's session. We want to continue to grow them for you just as well as we do for our product. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
MoeGo.